So let us look at strings as data types. Okay, so we have this one as um, strings as data types. So just strings alone, look at how deep we went. Just strings alone. Imagine I wanted to go the rest of them. Okay, so strings are simply anything in quotation mark is a string. Okay, now we'll be looking at first we'll be looking at this. First we'll look at string operation, string operation, string operations. Okay, then second we'll look at what? String methods. Okay, string methods. And under the string operation, we'll look at adding strings. Then we'll look at what? Multiplying strings. Multiplying strings. Then we'll also look at slicing strings. Okay. Then under the string methods, we are going to look at the index method. Index method. We are also going to look at the split method. Okay. We're also going to look at the split method, and we're also going to look at the upper method. The upper method, they are all of the same type. So let's say upper, lower, title. They are all separate methods, but they are in the same category. Capitalize methods. Okay. Then we also look at what? The strip method. The strip method. But with a strip, we have L strip, and we have what? R strip. Okay. Method. Plural form methods. These methods. Okay. So now we're also going to look at the replace method. Okay. Then lastly, we'll look at the count method. Okay, and there are more methods. Now to find out more methods, if you want to look for more methods, type dir into brackets str into your Python interpreter to see all the string methods available. Okay, so I'm done making the notes. Let me leave it like this. So now let us start with the code. So we are dealing with string operation. Okay, so first and foremost, with a string operation, so we are looking at adding strings. So I did an example like this. First name, let me say, yes, first name is equal to, let's say, Kwabena, and let's say last name is equal to, let's say, Owusu, any Owusu in the building. So now we want to add them together. So string operation, let's start with the addition. So let's say now the name, or let's say full name. Full name is equal to what? First name plus what? Last name. Okay, now I can print what? Full name. Okay, so when I print full name, let's see what happens. Now it sees Kwabuno Owusu. It puts the name together, okay, because there are no spaces between the name. One way I can do it, I can put a space after the Kwabena like this, so this empty space, and when I run it again, I will get this empty space. But in a sense, this is one string, and this is the other string, okay. Or I can still remove this space and just say plus quotation a space plus. So I'm saying first name plus an empty space plus the last name. And when I run it, I still get the same result. So I've added an empty space in between them. So the plus symbol can be used what as an operation on string to add them. Okay, so now let us take a look at the multiplication of strings. So multiplication. So with that, you can sometimes have a string like, let's say, um, text, as I said earlier, hello, okay, and you can say print, maybe text, print that text, maybe you want to print it 20 times, okay, 20 times, okay, so once you do this and you run it, it prints the hello 20 times, on and on and on and on, okay. Now this first print is for the first one. If you don't want this print to show temporarily, you can just put a hashtag in front of it, meaning that computer, don't run this code for me for now. Then you run it again, and you only get this second print working. But once you remove the hashtag, it start running. So putting the hashtag is called what? Commenting. Okay, you comment it. So you can make it two, just two, just need only two. So hello, okay. So I can put a space here to make it look more spaced and run it again. So I get hello, hello, and you can make it 5. I hope you get the concept of multiplying strings. But remember, there is nothing like division and subtraction, okay, and subtraction of what strings. Okay, so I think I'm done with the string operation. Now let me go on to the next code. Okay, so this time I'm going to focus on what string methods. Okay, string methods. Okay, so with the string methods, now let us start with the first one. Let me delete this part and put a mark down here. So let me just say string methods. String methods. Okay. Okay, so first one, I want to deal with the method index. The method is what? Dot index method. The dot index method. Okay. Now, with a dot index method, let's say I have a string called email. Let me use the same email, and let me put my personal email. No, let me not put my personal email. Let me put anything. So Mona Lisa at yahoo.com. Now, who can tell me the reason why there's these zigzag lines? It's simply because I'm trying to type a string without a quotation mark. I put them in quotation marks. Okay, so Mona Lisa at yahoo.com. So that's my email. Now I want to know the position of the at. I simply say, let's say position pose is equal to email dot index. Then I provide what am I looking for? What am I trying to find the position? Another thing I'm trying to look for is the at sign. Okay, and the at is a string, so you put it in quotation mark. So that string you have dot index, so to tell the position of this. Then I say print the position for me. Position, okay. Or you can say maybe let me make it look more fanciful. Location. So I'm saying location, location. Then it prints the position for me. Something simple. So when I run it, what I get is location is 8. So it's telling me that the location of the @ sign is what? In position 8. So the M is 0, O is 1, N is 2, A is 3, L is 4, I is 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's the location of what? The @ sign. So that's the index method. Okay. Now let me write the next code on the split method. So dot split method. So for the dot split method, let's say I use the example of date. Okay, so we have a date and we have something like in a string format. Let's say today's date is what? 04 like this, 09/2023. Okay, now we can say that maybe maybe let's write something like, let's say pieces is equal to date dot split it, and split it with what? The slash. Okay, split it with a slash, and after, when you are done, print that pieces for us. I just use the variable name pieces, but you can use any other name you want. So when I run this, you see it has splitted it 04/09/2023. So now I've gotten all of them, but it's in a list form. So it comes out as a list with a square bracket, but it shows all the pieces. And the part that you are using to split, it doesn't appear in the splitted item. Okay. I can also split with the 0. Let me change. I can also say maybe um, pieces 0. Let's say pieces 0. I'm splitting with a 0. So say date dot split into brackets. Now we are splitting with a 0. So do that for us. And after that, print what? Print pieces underscore 0. So these are two different variable names. Okay, so it should print the pieces for us, and should print this pieces was splitted with what? The underscore, and this pieces was splitted with what? A 0. So let's run it and see. So you realize that this one was splitted with the ones that was splitted with the backslash, you get this. This one was splitted with what? 0. So you realize something. Now this one 0 is starting. The first thing here, 0 is starting. So the computer will cut the data over there. And when the computer cuts this first 0, on your left side, you get an empty string. And on your right side, you get 4 and the slash. Okay. Now the next 0 is here. Now the computer cuts in between that. And when the computer cuts in between that, the next thing you get is what? The 9/2. And the computer cuts this 0 again, and you get what? 23 at the end. Okay, so if the computer is cutting or is splitting and the data is in the beginning and there's no other data in front of it, or there's no other data at the back of it, it will fill in with what? An empty string. Okay, imagine we say you should split, instead of with a 0, you should split with what? A 3, and the 3 is at the back of it. Let's see what will happen. So this is pieces 0. So when we run it, it took everything in front of the 3 as the first part and cut the 3, and the last part doesn't have any data, so it puts what? An empty string. It looks like there's a space between them, but no, it's an empty string. Okay. So as you can see, the split always generates at least 2 items. Okay, so that being said, let me go back and maintain the normal one. So we split it with 0 and split it with this. So now let me show you the next function I want us to use. The next function I want us to use, so method is the dot upper. And remember, all of them are lowercase. Dot upper, we have dot what? Lower, then what? Dot title, dot what? capitalize, dot capitalize, dot capitalize. And remember, you see all the methods have a dot, their name, and a bracket. Okay, all of them. So dot split and a bracket, dot index and a bracket. Okay, so all of them have a dot, the name, and a bracket. Some of them you may need to fill in the bracket. Some of them you may not need to put anything into the bracket. A typical example for the dot splits, you have to put in a character. Now, in case you didn't put in any character for the dot splits, let's say we have another string. Let's say we have another string down here. So the string is called maybe sentence with a variable name sentence, and the sentence, let's say I love computer programming. Okay, and I say sentence dot split, but I didn't provide any data. I didn't say computer split it with A or B or C or I or whatever it is. Then let me assign it to, let's say let's say let me assign it to a variable called x. I'm running out of variables in my head. So let me assign it to a variable called x, and I say print out what? X. Now let us comment this one out. We don't want to see these ones here and their output. Okay, we don't want to see them. We just want to focus on this side. So when I run it, it says I love computer programming. It's a full string, and I said split it, but I didn't specify what the computer should split it. Automatically the computer will split it by the spaces. So it's splitted here, leaving you with what? An I, and splitted here, leaving you with what? Lab, and splitted here, leaving you with what? Computer and programming. So automatically by default, the split function splits by what? The spaces. But unless I provide something, maybe I provide split by the word, let's say lab, then when I run this, it's going to cut the lab out and leave the rest. Okay, but then if you don't put in anything, by default it splits with what? I love computer programming, and it will cut it by the spaces. Okay, in other words, it means that when you put the dot split, you can get each word out of the sentence. So that's a beautiful technique of getting the words out. So if you have a long sentence and you want to get each word, just say dot split, and the computer cuts it by the spaces, because words are separated by spaces. So computer automatically cuts it by the spaces and you get your words. And if you want to go a step further, you can say that maybe count. You want to count the words, okay? And by counting the words, you use the len of x. So I'm just trying to build something. So after I splitted it by the spaces and I assign it to x, I'm saying then what is the length, or how many items did you get? That's count words, and now print what? Count words. Print what? Count words. And when I run it, it tells us what? The answer is 4. Oh, this print function appeared. I don't want to see you. So it tells us 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. True. There are 4 words in the sentence. I splitted them by the spaces. Then I found the length of the list I got, and I printed it out, and it told me the number of words in the sentence. It's a simple technique, but you can, let me give a comment here. So it divides them by the spaces by default. Okay, so it divides them by the spaces by default. Now let us go to these methods. My people are still here. Okay, so let's have a string name equals let's take a name like Ghana. Okay, and want Ghana to be a string. So you can see that each data type you can go into details. Okay, but today we are just focusing on strings. So the name Ghana, you can apply a dot upper. So let's say upper underscore case of, let me say name underscore uppercase. I just want to make a variable name that I can remember. Uppercase is equal to what? So I want to convert this name into uppercase, and I've assigned it to the variable called name underscore uppercase. The variable name is your own choice. Nobody makes it for you. Okay. So in simple put, he says what? Name dot upper into brackets. Then you put name dot upper. You don't need to put in any argument or any parameter. Okay. You don't need to put in any argument in this. You just name dot upper. Then you can now print the what? The name uppercase. Okay. So when you print it, you get what? Ghana, and all of them are capital letters. Okay. Now we can do same for lowercase. So this for the uppercase. Then let us do same for name underscore what? Lowercase is equal to the variable called name dot what? Lower, and you don't need to put in any data. And now let us print name lowercase, and let's see. So as you can see, this one gives us an uppercase, this one gives us the lowercase version. Already the name is in the lowercase, so we don't really mind. Let me comment this one out, and this print function will no longer work because of the hashtag. So when I run it, guess what? Only Ghana. Okay. Now let us look at the title. Let's look at the title, or maybe let me add some sentence so that you see how the title works. Ghana, a peaceful country. Okay, so let's say Ghana, a peaceful country. And let us try this once again, and let's see. So this one converted everything to what? Uppercase. This one converted everything to what? Lowercase. Okay. And now let us look at the dot title. The dot title is saying that you can print. Now instead of assigning to a variable before you print it, you can just do it directly. Name dot title. Okay, so now we don't want to assign it to a variable before printing it. So you say name dot title, then we print it. Okay, so you see Ghana, a peaceful country. So the title method, every word starts with a capital. So the country will start with a capital, peace will start with a capital, air is already the first word, so it's a capital. Then Ghana also starts with a capital. Okay, so then the last method I want us to look at in this session or in this block will be print into brackets name dot capitalize. Okay, now when you do name dot capitalize and you press run, now that's the last one. The capitalize will only capitalize the first word, the Ghana with a G. The rest of them becomes lowercase. Okay, so the capitalize is more or less like sentence casing. Okay, so sentence casing. Then the title is yes, title casing or whatever it is. Then the other ones are lowercase, uppercase, and stuff like that. So we've used these methods. Now let us look at the strip methods. Okay, the strip method. Okay, dot strip method. And with this one, we have we also look at the R strip, and the L strip. Okay, so let's say we have a string called name is equal to, or let me say text. Text is equal to hello, are you following? I know people, and there are some empty spaces here. But remember, the spaces in between don't matter. It doesn't matter the amount of space I put in between. It doesn't matter. Okay, it's not a white space. A white space is the space around the text. So this one is a white space, and this one too is a white space. but the spaces in between the texts are not white spaces. Okay, so if I have a string like this and I print it text, you may not see the white spaces, but they are there. Now you could see that there's some empty space over here. There's some empty space here, but we don't see it. Okay, but they are there. So if let's say you want to strip it, okay, so we can say text dot strip. Okay, text dot strip, and you run it, it will remove the empty spaces from both the left and the right. Okay, so text dot strip. You can also say that, but when you say text dot r strip, let me write another one. Print text dot r strip. So that means clear the empty spaces from what? The right side, and this is the right side, your right hand. And these empty spaces in front will still be there when we run it. We don't want to see this code, so we only want to see this. So when we run it, realize that this empty space still remains, but then the empty space at the back gets deleted, but we can't see it. That's why it's difficult for me. And the fact that I can't even select, you see, I can't select it. I can only select the data from here to here, but here I can't select because there's no data over there. But if I come here, oh, with this one, let me show you with this one. Let me show you with print text and print into bracket text. Okay, so let me print all the three and let's see the difference. So with this one, if you realize, you can select, this is the full data, and you see that empty spaces here and there. But for this one, with the R strip, there's the data from both sides have been cleared. There's nothing here and there's nothing there. This is the strip, both sides have been cleared, and this part, only the left side is left, but the right side have been cleared. That's the R strip. So when I use the print what text dot L strip, it would, and you print it out, it would clear the text, the empty spaces on your left side. So all these spaces will be cleared, but then this one will still remain. And when I select it, it becomes visible. You see, now this spaces here is still there, but then the space on the left is removed. But then WhatsApp uses the strip method. It clears on both sides, so you cannot put in excess spacing. I think on your mobile phone you can put excess spacing before it, but on the laptop it doesn't do that. So these are the stripping methods available to you to use. Now, it's not always that you may want to strip with the spaces. So let's say with your data, you have something like an asterisk, plenty, and you have something like an asterisk, plenty. Okay, so by default, it strips with what? The spaces. But this time you can specify that it should strip with what? Asterisk, but you have to put it in a quotation because you're dealing with strings. Okay, so when I click on this, see all the other ones, this one is, I say strip. Okay, the first one is text, so it prints the full text. This is it. The second one is saying strip both ends of this asterisk, remove the asterisk from both ends. So this one, there's no asterisk on either ends. Okay, then the next one is R strip. R strip means, oh, I didn't put in the asterisk, so quotation mark the asterisk, then quotation mark the asterisk. Okay, so when I run it again, you realize that this is print the text. It has printed out the text. Now text dot strip, that means strip both sides. It has done that. Now R strip, strip only the right, so remove it from the right side. It has done that, but the left side still remains. And the L strip means remove it from the left side, but the right side still remains. So you can strip anything off the ends of a string. So it's not always its spaces, but if you don't put anything inside a strip, you are automatically stripping them by what? Spaces. So let me give a comment here. So strip both sides. Then this one was strip the right side. Then this one is strip the left side. Strip both sides, strip the right side. Strip the right side only. Then strip the left side what? Only. Okay, so we are getting to the end very soon, but you must hold on. Okay, myself, I'm tired, but you must hold on. Very soon you become a guru. This is the only longest lesson in all our 3 weeks. Okay, all the other lessons are short and straightforward. This lesson is very long because I need to get you enough of the basics so that tomorrow we start some serious stuff. Okay, so the next one is the replace the dot replace method. Okay, the dot replace method. The dot replace is simply saying that, let's say school, as I used earlier, it's saying, let's say Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Okay, so that's the name of my school. So when I say print into brackets, and if you leave a space here, it doesn't matter. Okay, I can even put a lot of spaces as long as I've mentioned the correct name, print. I can leave billion spaces, and it needs to be followed by what? A bracket. It doesn't matter. But leaving excess space over there doesn't make sense. Okay. Similarly, with the equal to sign, you can decide not to leave spaces around them. It also doesn't matter. Okay. But for readability, you just put spaces there. Okay. It doesn't matter. So print let's say school dot replace it. Replace the school with, now in replace, now you see something here, it says old. This information is telling that old. So what is the old thing you want to replace? Maybe I want to replace the A, the small a. Then I put a comma. Then it's saying that the new one, which new one do you want to replace it with? I put a capital A. So replace all the small a's with what? A capital A. Then I run it and see. So you see Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, the end, which is a small a, is being replaced with a capital A. The A here is also being replaced with a capital A. So when you want to replace a certain character in a string, or you can replace a whole string, you can say replace the Kwame with maybe with Musa. Just saying with Musa. So when you run it, Musa Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Oh, that sounds weird. So, but then what if I didn't spell the Kwame wrong? Let's say the Kwame starts with capital K, but I put a small k. So I'm saying replace Kwame with a small k with the word Musa. And let's run it and see. Nothing gets replaced because inside this text, inside this string, there is no name called Kwame with a capital K. It is Kwame with a bigger K. There is no name called Kwame with a capital K, so nothing gets replaced and the same string stands out. Okay. So if the string cannot be found, or let's say University of Science and Technology, let me say ice cream. Ice cream. Now ice cream is not in the string, so when I run it, I get the same string back. So once whatever you are looking for, or the old one you are looking for, can't be found in the string, it prints out the old thing back. But then, yes, that's all. So straightforward. Then the last method I would introduce you to is the count method. Okay. So we have the count method. The count method simply counts the number of times something occurs in a string. So if we come back here and copy this, the school, okay, come in with a question. So continuing from here, So looking at the count, let's say I want to count the number of A's, small A's in the list. So I can say print um, school dot count the small a. It's what? 3. So small a, another small a, I've missed one. Yes, another small a. So there are 3 of them. So the count the number of times something is occurring. So if you say count Kwame with a capital K, it's 1. There's only one Kwame with a capital K. Now if I remove it and replace it with a small k, the answer is what? 0. Kwame with a small k doesn't exist in the list. So it comes out as 0. So let's go back to with a small a and we get 3. So this brings us to the end of the methods that I want to introduce you to, and there are more of them. Is alphanumeric, is numeric, is alpha, is plenty, they are plenty, is integer, is digit, they are all methods under the string function. But from the string operation, I should have shown you one more thing, that is the string slicing. So string slicing. So now talking about string slicing, as I stated earlier, you can have a sentence like let's say text, okay, is equal to, then we have hello Pythonist, or let me just say yes, hello Pythonista. Okay, now remember that the age is 0, is in position 0, the E is in position E is in position 1, L is in position 2, this one is in 3, O is position 4, this space is position 5, and P is position 6, and goes on and on till the end. So when you say text, so let's say you want to replace, let's say text cut from, let's say position 1 and end on position 6. Now ending on position 6 means this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ending on position 6, P is on position 6. Since you're telling the computer to end on position 6, it always ends 1 before the position. Okay. So if I'm to print this, if I'm to print this out, what we are going to get is LO. So E is in position 1. It cuts from there all the way before the position 6, which is P. And that one has what, an empty space behind it. And you can see it has been highlighted as blue with the empty space behind it. So I can say maybe cut all the way till 7, or just before you end on 7. So D is position 6, Y is position what, 7, and it will end at position 6, which is the P. So it cuts all the way from here. You can also cut from 0, and you know H is in position 0, so you start from that part. You can cut all the way to let's say position 9. I don't know how far it goes. Then you get up to the T. Now let's say you say cut up to position 15, Python next. Okay, let's cut up to position 20. Now we know position 20 goes overboard. Okay, it will give you everything. Okay, it will give you everything. So if you say cut up to position 100, it will still give you everything. So when you are cutting, but then if you want to cut everything, the simplest way to do it is say start from 0, and end at, you don't put anything there, it will automatically give you everything. Okay, or better still, you can just put semicolon, meaning that starts from the beginning and end at the end. That's for the semicolon. Okay, so you can start with a particular number, let's say 3, and end at a particular number, let's say 9. Okay, then we can have another one, print, where we want to print everything. We want to print everything of the list. We just say we don't provide the start and we not provide the end. We just put what? A semicolon. Once you put a semicolon without without providing the start, it will start from 0. And if you don't provide the end, it will end at the last one. And when you print it, you see that this second one gets you everything. So if you want everything to come out, just put a semicolon. Now, if you want to start from the beginning, let's say print, see, I'm showing all the cases, text, and say start from the beginning. I don't know where the beginning is, but I want you to end on the 5th one. Okay, so this one starts from the beginning and end on the 5th one. So that is hello. Okay, yes, yes, it will end on hello. Yeah. So let me say 10. Start from the beginning and end on the 10th one. This is what you get. Now, what if I say start from 4, but just end on the last one? I don't know how far it goes. So start from 4. Oh wait, syntax error. So text brackets, then you put what, 4 semicolon, end on the last one. I don't know how far it goes. So you end. So it started from the position 4, which is O, and ended at the end, the nester. Okay. So remember, if you want to slice a string, you mention the name of the variable, then you put square bracket and you state the initial position, semicolon, and the last position. Okay. The syntax is simple. So the syntax is what? Variable name. For now, I'll say variable name with square brackets. Okay. Then start position, POS, semicolon, end position, then semicolon, then direction. Now I'll show you the direction in a minute. Okay, so the variable name square, the square bracket, then start from this position, semicolon, end on this position, semicolon, show the direction. Now if you don't state the direction, automatically it is 1. 1 means that start from the left to the right, but 1 means start from the left to the right. Okay, so since I didn't provide a 1 here, the computer automatically assumes a 1 for me. In both cases, this one too is a 1, this one too here is also a 1, and this one too is also a 1. But now let's see how we can do by changing the direction. So we can say print, we can say text. Now start from, let's say, the 11th position and go to the 3rd position in the reverse direction, because we are starting from a bigger number to a smaller number. So in the reverse direction, and let me comment these ones out. Then so okay, so when I run this, I get it starts backwards, so the spelling goes backwards. It starts from N and ends at O, and it's in the reverse. So you can see it's Python in the reverse. Okay, because I specified the negative direction. If you don't specify the negative, you are going to get, I'm expecting an error. Okay, nothing happened. Nothing happened because the computer started from 11 and it's supposed to go forward, because automatically here is 1, meaning move forward. But how can it move from 11 to 3 in the forward direction? 11, 12, 13, 14, you never meet 3, so nothing happens. So you have to specify that it goes what? In the negative direction or the reverse direction, and you get your thing back. And the beautiful thing is that if you want to reverse the entire text, you can say text, you say maybe start from the beginning, end at the beginning, and just reverse. Okay, so just you can choose this command, you see. So start, the start value I didn't provide, so it will automatically start from the beginning or the end. And since I'm using -1 here, so it will start from the end. Where it should end, I didn't also provide, so it will end at the end, but in the negative direction. Okay, so when I run this, we get hello Pythonista in the reverse direction. So text square, semicolon, semicolon, -1. If we did it semicolon, semicolon, +1, we are going to get the entire thing in the forward direction. But with a negative, it's in the reverse direction. Okay, so this part is for what? Reverse direction. And this part is for what? the forward direction. Okay, the forward direction. So the last thing I want to teach you is the question he asked earlier about replacing a particular string. So let's say the P is in position 6, and we all know P is in position 6. Okay, so let's say I want to replace the P with a capital P. I can say that maybe this is a new text. I want to assign to a variable called new text. It's equal to the old text square. What is the position of P? It's 6. So this will get me P. Okay, so I can say print what new text. So when I print new text, I get what? P. Let me comment this one out. So I get P. So when I run this, I get P because P is the character in position 6 and to be assigned to the variable called what? New text. And I want to print that. Okay. So by doing this, I've extracted that variable from what? The text. But if you want to replace the P with, let's say, capital P, this is what you do. Instead of assigning it to a variable, now this one becomes a variable name. So I'll say that text square, the position of P is 6. Now, text square P is equal to a new something, let's say capital P. Okay, so I'm saying that text this is equal to what? Capital P. Let me see what will happen. Oh, I get an error. Yes, this is not how we do it. Okay, so I have to for me to change that part. Let me see. So you can already have a text document. Let me add it to. I'm coming. So looking at this, so we've seen how we can slice strings and cut them the way into pieces the way we want. So use the string slicing to do that. And remember the syntax. Variable name, square bracket, then the starting position, semicolon, the ending position, semicolon, the direction. And by default, the direction is what? 1 by default. If you don't tell the computer the direction, it assumes that it's 1, meaning left to right, meaning smallest to what? The biggest. Okay. So we've learned about that, and we've learned how to what? Add strings, learn how to multiply them. We've also looked at some string method where we looked at the index method where you can find the position of a particular string. Then look at the split method where you can split the strings. Then look at the lower method, upper method, title method, capitalized methods. Then we look at strip method, R strip method, the L strip method. Then we look at replace method. Then we look at count method. And this is what we did in this second session of the video. So